Remember to turn on all notifications so you don't miss a video. Sonic Adventure 2 is cinema. The entire story is like an epic trilogy. It's easily the best story in the franchise, written by the legend Shiro Maekawa, who's also responsible for the Black Knight's story. The hero story is the main story and it has great plot structure. There are 3 POVs, Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. What's dope about this story is that each of them start in media res, which means in the middle of the story. The intro and inciting incident are skipped and we jump into the first act break of each of their stories like it's the Dark Knight. This not only makes the story entertaining from the jump, but it also creates a little bit of mystery that's actually solved in the dark story. It's like a puzzle. Once Sonic's POV is about to slow down with him being in jail, the story immediately switches to Knuckles' POV, which is at its most interesting point. That's a great decision. The events here create the journey for Knuckles and give him a good justification for meeting up with the rest of the gang. After Knuckles goes hunting, the story switches to Tails' POV. Once again, the story starts at the most interesting point, which is Tails flying to save Sonic and finding Amy in danger from Eggman. Now, Sonic and Tails merge POVs when Amy rescues the former. I'd say the midpoint is Eggman blowing up part of the moon. Eventually, Knuckles searching for the Emerald Shards leads him to meeting Tails and Amy, finally combining all POVs into one. Keep in mind that at the end of the President's scene, there is an agent mentioned. As they continue in the second act break, the characters go to space and each of the 3 main characters have their final battle with their rivals, climaxing with Sonic defeating Shadow and destroying the Eclipse Cannon. That's the end of the hero story. It's a thrilling action-adventure movie with some unanswered questions, but the plot still works perfectly. The Dark Story is its own great movie that adds context to the hero story and fleshes out the antagonists. This also starts in media res because Eggman is already breaking in to find his grandfather's military weapon, Shadow. Now we know who Shadow is and why he's with Eggman. Rouge's intro is exactly the same as Knuckles'. The next scene fills us in on Eggman's secret pyramid base, which was located in the hero story to go to space. Then, Shadow steals a Chaos Emerald and dips, which is the reason that Sonic was mistakenly captured by Gun at the start of the hero story. Although this is pointed out from Sonic's POV, we actually see all of the events play out from Shadow's POV here. Meanwhile, Rouge finds the pyramid base and goes on to the Ark, which is where all 3 of the villains finally meet up. Shadow explains that the Eclipse Cannon belonged to Gerald and requires all Chaos Emeralds to destroy the Earth. This is context to Eggman's threat in the hero story. When the 3 team up, they plan to gather all of the emeralds, which is why they go to Prison Island. Now we know why Eggman was there and why he blew up the island. Amy is on the island because she came to save Sonic, and Eggman found her because she took Shadow for Sonic. This provides context to Tails' introduction. The scene in the Ark ties in some continuity from Sonic Adventure when Tails has the last emerald, and it also explains why he randomly had one after the moon blew up. Rouge is also revealed to be a spy working for someone, but with the hint from the hero story, we know that's the President, so that was his secret agent. In the next scene, Shadow is shown to have been tracking the tornado, which is why Eggman was prepared for them in the pyramid. After Rouge's battle, we learn that Eggman knew the emerald was fake ahead of time when he tricked Tails. The remaining final battles happen, but this story ends with Eggman thinking he's won right before the Eclipse Cannon fails. Also, Shadow doesn't lose to Sonic here, which is a slight continuity error. So now we have an epic but mysterious thriller of a first movie, and an also epic second movie that serves to contextualize the first from a different perspective. Then comes the third and final movie, which will merge both sides and progress the plot past the Eclipse Cannon. The last story starts in media res, with the plot of the Ark falling down to Earth forcing the characters to team up. After Gerald Robotnik provides eerie exposition explaining the current situation, the gang splits up to stop the space colony. The Master Emerald actually plays an important role in stopping the Chaos Emeralds, making it sort of a Chekhov's gun. All of this would be in the first act break. The midpoint would be when Knuckles thinks he stopped the Ark, but the Bio-Lizard fuses with it to continue its trajectory. That's the all hope is lost moment. The second act break would be Sonic and Shadow turning super. The climax is Sonic and Shadow defeating Final Hazard with Chaos Control and Shadow dying. The resolution is all of the characters reflecting on the events that just unfolded, while a beautiful, bittersweet track plays. A motif is a recurring idea, and the biggest motif in SA2 is duality. Each hero has a rival that is like the opposite side of their coin. Rouge collects the shards out of selfishness, Knuckles collects them out of his duty to protect the Master Emerald. Eggman uses his technology to rule the world. Tails uses it to protect people. Shadow wants revenge on the world. Sonic wants to protect it. Even their designs and playstyles mirror each other, which is really cool. While the theme isn't as strong as Black Knight's, it does exist and it's told through Shadow. He has a positive character arc that starts with him going against the theme and ends with him in support of the theme, which is probably what makes him such a magnetic character in this story. He's the only one who goes through major change. Rouge is the only other character to change. In the epilogue, she says she'll give up jewel hunting. All the other characters are static. What is the theme? I think it's best conveyed through Amy and Maria's dialogue right before Shadow fights the Bio-Lizard. Throughout the plot, Shadow wanted to get revenge on the Earth because the government was responsible for Maria's death. He also believed that it was Maria's wish to get revenge. In the last story, Amy acknowledges that there are bad people, but says that people are good if they try their best and never give up on their wishes, and that Shadow should give them a chance. Maria asks Shadow to give all of the people on Earth a chance to be happy and let them live for their dreams. I interpret Amy's lines as, most people are good, and Maria's as, give people a chance to be good. Overall, it's an anti-revenge story, because Maria was saying this as she was dying from gun soldiers. The reason I say this is weaker than Black Knight is because Black Knight has two characters with opposing beliefs and actually has them physically and verbally fight over them in the climax. SA2 just has one character having a positive arc relating to the themes. There's no one to challenge him philosophically throughout the story, especially in the climax. But not every movie has to have that thematic battle in the climax. There are many classics that don't. I just think that this would have put the story up even higher. All of the characters are in their prime in this story, and this is the best version of all these characters. Sonic is slightly better in Black Knight due to his beliefs, but this Sonic is basically the same with that exception. His personality is a perfect blend of attitude and virtue. Tails is competent and confident and never a coward. Knuckles is chilled out and also competent. The Sonic and Knuckles scenes are few, but this is their best dynamic. Sonic has the red Oni, and Knuckles has the blue Oni. In modern games, especially Frontiers, they're both red Onis that just try to childishly one-up each other and constantly bigger. Here, they have different personalities, but their banter and chemistry is much more appealing. Examples would be Sonic forcing the job of finding the keys onto the begrudging Knuckles, ending with him using the title, the world's greatest treasure hunter, to mock and or persuade him. Another scene would be the two fighting in the shuttle over the loss of the emeralds. Their priorities naturally clash. Knuckles is serious and cares about the lost shards, but Sonic is more laid back, which leads to them fighting and almost crashing the shuttle. In the next scene, Sonic disses Knuckles, and in the last story, Sonic has one last quip making fun of Knuckles for this event. Amy is also in her prime. Like in Adventure, she uses her immense empathy and power of persuasion to get Shadow to join the Alliance in the end, giving her yet another strong character moment. She was even competent enough to sneak in and free Sonic. Eggman is at his most threatening and competent in this story. Shadow isn't a complete edgelord and is justified in his rage and develops out of it. Rouge doesn't really fall off in future games to my memory, so I don't really have anything to say about her. The characterization of each of these characters individually is immaculate. Each one has a distinct and magnetic personality. The chemistry between each of the teams and the rivalries is just perfect. The characters just fire on all cylinders in this game. Just like Sonic and the Black Knight, this story has cinematic scenes that make great use of dialogue and music, but this time there's 3D animation, a superior soundtrack, and cinematography, elevating the cinematic quality of these scenes. Here are some of my favorites. Sonic's intro scene and jumping out of the plane. An amazing OST, iconic, characterizing dialogue, a cool concept, and just great directing make this scene phenomenal. Sonic first meeting Shadow is great as well. Once again, great dialogue, especially from Shadow, fantastic music, and an iconic shot of the two running by each other. There's also Sonic learning that the island is about to explode, the moon being shot at, Sonic's fake out death. Sonic and Shadow's final encounter in the hero story is probably the best scene in the whole trilogy. The back and forth dialogue is just flawless. The characters gradually moving faster as the epic OST in the background crescendos and speeds up, along with the little movements and facial expressions just make this scene elite. From other stories, there's Shadow saving Rouge from the explosion, Shadow's death, and the final scene. Sonic repeating Maria's farewell is a neat callback. All of these scenes combine the perfect track with amazing dialogue, cinematography, and coolness. In conclusion, Sonic Adventure 2 has an elite story due to it being an epic movie trilogy that has great plot structure, characters, motif and theme, and cinematic quality. I'd love to see this kind of elite writing return to the Sonic franchise. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and help me revolutionize the manga industry by buying my manga and spreading the word. All important links will be in the description.